Can you talk about the situation at center?
Well, I'll kind of go over the whole, last week we talked about us getting close on the offensive line. So we've got we're going to get you guys the two deep Tuesday all the way through. But offensive line-wise right now, we're going to start Tunde at center. We're going to start Avery Young at tackle. Him and Greg Robinson will be the starting tackles. We're going to start with John Sullivan and Chad Slade at the guards, backed up by Alex Kozan and Christian Westerman. And the tackles being backed up by Sean Coleman and Patrick Miller. So we've kind of solidified that. And again, the backup center for the game will be John Sullivan. If anything happens to Tunde, so that's kind of the rotation we started to work tonight.
Is Sean on the left side?
Yes. And again, those guys are somewhat interchangeable as well.
And most times, offensive line is not a place where there's a lot of rotation. Do you think that could change a little bit because there's been so many guys kind of in and out that you might move some guys around?
Well, we're hoping, Jason, to keep it solid. Keep it as solid as we can. Because again, our focus has been, in the last probably 3 practices, today being 4. We tried to really solidify these guys at those positions that I just mentioned. So there was a lot of musical chairs early trying to figure out, the guards and tackles and things of that nature. But, over the course of the last, 3 practices or so, we really tried to zero in on keeping guys stationary in their places. So that's really what we've been working on the last 3 days, and it really hadn't changed.
So with Sean on the twos, he must have really come along this preseason.
Well, I'm proud of Sean. He's still got a long way to go. There's no question about that. And obviously with any position, whether it's a guard or a tackle, if somebody, gets hurt or whatnot, we're going to put in the next best player. And so, that could in the rotation make things a little different. But to the best of our ability, we're going to try to really solidify and work those positions with those guys.
Tunde being there through the spring and obviously through the preseason, how much did it help that he's a guy that has stayed pretty much at center the whole time?
Well, it really has helped, and again, we've got a lot of confidence in him, and everybody has got to step up their level of play everywhere, obviously, but I think Tunde's excited about, the opportunity, that's presented itself, and he's, he's going to study the game, and he's got a really a great week to prepare. And like I said, we have a lot of faith in him.
Have you decided on a length of suspension for Reese?
We have not. As I've said with other players in the past, if you see him out there, you'll know that he's done all the things we've asked him to do, but he's not playing this weekend.
I guess another help for Tunde in the middle is having really your 2 experienced guys on each side of him. That an advantage for him having Sullivan and Slade.
Well, that's kind of that was kind of our line of thinking that Chad's played a lot of football even though he's still young. John's a senior; he's played a lot of football. So again, it's in terms of the communication that has to go on up and down the line. Those 2 guys at guards are good communicators, not only just for the center but the tackles as well. When you're starting 2 freshman tackles that have never played in a college football game, so those guys, those are 2 solid. That's kind of the solid foundation of our offensive line, simply because they have some experience.
In the secondary, I know you guys have some pretty good battles. Have you sorted it out? Who's probably going to?
Well, we're getting closer on that. Again, we'll give you the whole, we'll give you the whole 2 deep Tuesday, but we're coming down to the end of that as well, but no final decisions yet.
Was there ever any decision after the whole deal this weekend, or any thought to someone other than Toon being the guy at center? Was he automatically the guy? Was he the guy that you guys were with no matter what?
Well, there were some other possibilities in there that obviously could have presented themselves in terms of talking through everything. We've got Alex Kozan, who's a young guard, and we think is going to be a very good player. Christian Westerman, who's also, redshirt freshman. So you got a true freshman and a redshirt freshman. Both of them have improved. Both of them were competing for a guard spot. So if you move John Sullivan over, and if that happened during the football game where John Sullivan had to move over to center, then you've got Christian Westerman and you've got Alex Kozan, who have really done a nice job improving, battling for a spot all through training camp as well. So one of those guys would probably, be the next man up. And again, we would put the guy in there that we think is the next best player. It doesn't mean that he's a right guard or a left guard, would be the next best guy.